Welcome to Araxis Global Network, the premier voice of objective reporting, covering the events that affect your world, your life, and your PlanetSide 2 news and information. We cover what it means to be a PlanetSide 2 fan. You love the game, you will love the AGN. We are your #1 source of all things PlanetSide 2, featuring spot-on and up-to-date updates. Yes, we said up-to-date updates that will promise to whet your appetite for PlanetSide 2 news. Will you find cutting-edge information as well as breaking news screenshots on AGN? Does a pole dancer have thighs that can crush your head? Yes! And now, introducing your distinguished hosts, your friends and fellow PlanetSide 2 groupies, Hamma and Marsman.
Hello everybody, this is Hammy here with the Araxis Global Network and PlanetSide-Universe.com, and I have no co-host today. It is just Hamma. There is no Hamma and anyone. So Jenny Boo is off visiting her family. She will be returning shortly, but today it's just myself hosting, and we're going to talk about a variety of different topics, key amongst which is probably going to be the PlayStation 4 announcement. And we're going to talk about all sorts of stuff after that. So I'm sure we'll talk about the different game updates and the new alert types and all sorts of stuff like that. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. We're actually starting on time, which is, I don't think ever, like literally ever happened before, maybe once. But we're starting on time today and looking forward to a good show. So we're going to go ahead and start bringing folks in, and we go ahead and start bringing their audio up. I see our Basty's already shaking his head. He knows that I'm going to have him introduce himself first. All right. So here we are. We have our guests with us. We've got a pretty good panel today of quite a few people. And I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves individually, starting with our good friend who's often on the show, Basti.
Robo? Oh, yeah, Basti. PlanetSide player for many, many years. Playing on Miller these days with Rhino Corporation. Here again because I have nothing to do on Sunday afternoon.
Well, that makes two of us. That's exactly why I'm doing this. I have nothing to do. You already called me on that. I'm just kidding now. I'm doing it because I want to do it. It's fun. It's fun to do these. All right, next up we have a new guest to the show. And a lot of you folks have probably seen him streaming a lot and doing some YouTube videos and stuff out there now. But we're also joined by It's Murda. I guess that would be the appropriate way to say it.
Yeah,
go ahead and say hello. Your sound went away randomly.
That's bizarre. Okay, is it here now?
I can hear you now.
Plus wanted to mute me.
Much better.
Anyway, I'm It's Murda, as Hamma said. You guys have seen me around. I've been playing PlanetSide since 2000.
His microphone is evil.
Again. Very, very odd. Interesting. Okay, yeah, you can still hear me now, right?
Yeah, it's just, it's like all of a sudden it just goes...
Yeah, it's like, I see it on my Google Plus too. It like turns orange and shit. Keep an eye on that. Anyway.
As I show you guys Jen's empty chair.
I mean, it's working for the time being.
So we can't have
whatever.
nice things. There we go.
There I am. Hi. So, technical difficulty.
Oh, there it goes again. Awesome. Well, at least it's not on my end. I mean, no offense, but it seems to always happen on this end.
It's working now. Sorry about that. Anyway, this is the longest intro ever, so you may know me from PlanetSide 1 as that idiot who had 12 CR5 characters, or in PlanetSide 2 I've been playing on Matherson with AC, 1CMM, and the Overlords. And as Hamma said, I do a lot of the social media type of stuff with the community lately, so you can catch my stream at itsmurda.com, or check me out on YouTube, Twitter as well. So really happy to be here. I got a webcam just for this, so hopefully we'll have a lot of fun.
Awesome. And I like your shirt as well. That's a quality
shirt. Yeah, it's
shirt.
the original. 10 years old now.
Oh, awesome. That's even better.
Yeah.
I have one of those as well. I'll have several.
Did you wash it?
Yes, I'm surprised it's in that good a condition for how often I've worn it, actually.
Nice. Yeah,
there's a cat over there. That's Phoebe, by the way. She's probably the biggest.
I noticed that.
Issue. Where she is sleeping right now. She might be a ruckus later on. But
I'm sure my cat will disturb me at some point, in this broadcast as well. So Jen's not here to escort them out when they cause problems. All right. Next up, we have Roy Awesome on the show again. Welcome.
How's it going, guys? Not to be outdone, I have my cat as well.
Winning.
So, yeah. Oh, and he just ran away. Yeah, glad to be back. Yeah, hope to have a good show.
All right, awesome. Welcome back again. And next up, we also have another new guest in the show. We have Respire joining us.
Hi, I'm Respire, an officer from NCSO and a fairly active member of the Waterston community. And no, I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to a good show.
Awesome. And I see Robo has joined us. He was mysteriously MIA before we started the show, but he is here. Welcome.
Hey, yeah, Robo CPF1 from Matherson, outfit leader of Ghosts of the Revolution, been playing since tech test. Glad to be here, and glad I was able to get Google Plus to work finally.
Yeah, they actually just redesigned the whole page and everything, so I'm guessing that's probably what happened. You got confused there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
They changed completely like everything about Google Plus, so I'm not surprised you had trouble finding it. So, but glad you're here. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing started. PlayStation 4. Yeah, so I don't know how many people were expecting it. I think quite a few of us were from kind of reading between the lines the past, 6 or 8 months. So I'm curious what everybody's thoughts are on this. Do you think it's going to hurt the game, help the game? Do you plan on buying a PlayStation 4 and playing PlanetSide 2 on it? I mean, what's everybody's thoughts on that? Do you want me to, guys want me just to go down the line, or do you want to raise your hands? How do you guys want to do it? I'll let it be up to you. And silence.
Choices.
Well, we got a We got a raised hand. Roy raised his hand, so we'll start.
Yeah, but then Basti started talking, so.
That's why we can't have nice things on the show. All right, we'll go ahead and start with Roy, and then we'll go to Basti since he started talking next.
I kind of like so I was worried at first that they were going to do like joint PS4 PC servers. I don't know why I thought that at first, because it doesn't seem like that would be very logical, because I don't know if all of you have heard, they tried to do PC and Xbox gameplay in like the same game, and it just didn't work. So like the PC players completely destroyed the console players. So they're probably going to have their own servers, according to Smedley. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like any bad deal. The PlayStation 4 has worse hardware than most computers today. Well, it's similar but lower end, which allows them to do specific things to reduce like optimizations and stuff, which will be good for us computer players. They're going to have more players. It's good for us computer players. They're going to have their own servers, so whatever. It just seems like no downside to it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Basti, you talked next.
It's actually kind of difficult, and I don't know what to expect, because for once, yeah, the hardware. PlayStation 4's hardware is, as Roy just said, worse than most usual PCs, but it's a console that has completely, you can't really compare it to a normal PC for various complicated reasons. So no idea if they can manage to do the whole 2,000 players per continent thing, or whatever, if they have to downscale shit. And that's where it starts to get complicated. If they have to downscale the game, how does it affect us? Do we get downscaled as well? If they don't downscale us, but downscale the console version, then we have two different games, and balance doesn't work together anymore as it does right now. Do they then balance the game separately for the PlayStation 4, or do they just get me screwed over? No idea. But if everything works out, and as I hope, and as I expect actually mostly, if they just get the same game with console controls and a different UI, then we probably get a few more PC players as well. Simply because everyone talks about PlanetSide 2.
Well, that was an abrupt ending. You were just like, all right, well, I'm done. That's cool, I'll allow it. I think Respire had his hand raised next.
Just kind of following up on that, I think a lot of my concerns are really just addressed around whether this is going to affect the amount of manpower they dedicate to balancing each if it needs to be balanced separately, or things such as frequency of updates. And I know this was a problem with a lot of other games where they, for example, Battlefield 3, they'd hold it back because the cost for each update, but I'm assuming it'll be different for this, seeing as Sony owns both PlanetSide 2 and the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one, somewhat more hardware related, is the number of buttons on a console controller. I'm not sure about most players, but I have 12 buttons on the side of my mouse, and I use all of them very frequently in PlanetSide 2, as well as my standard WASD, spot, with Q, so forth. Just wondering how that's going to work out.
Okay. All right, and I know Roy was starting to say something, so we can go to Roy, and then we'll go to Robo.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, in response to what Basti said, the balance, like, if something's unbalanced for, like, in general, it's probably unbalanced on both the PC side and the PlayStation 3 side, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. I can't really, like, something like the Zoe or the Fracture, it's like, those are a little bit overpowered. Doesn't matter if you're playing on a controller, it doesn't matter if you're playing... Well, I mean, the Zoe might be a little less overpowered if you're playing on a controller, just because of the inaccuracy and the ability to, like, swing yourself with a controller. So it actually might be balanced in that regard, but completely broken on one end. I don't know. I feel like nerfing some things would probably lead to a better game in general than it would, like, just for the PlayStation 3.
Okay. Robo?
Well, I wanted to mention that we were in a sort of a unique situation where it's an MMO. So you can have, they had Halo come out for several different platforms, and there was no even real worry about cross-platform on that because they were all lobby-based, team-based, very small matches. They had a storyline, a campaign, but all of PlanetSide 2's content is other players. So as long as they have, I think someone in chat mentioned they're going to have different servers, different dev teams, that's fine. If you're going to make 2 different games out of it, then fine, so be it. But I think that's something we need to know in advance, so we don't spend hours talking about it and fretting about it because we think the console players are going to get something nerfed. I personally, I know Smedley said they're probably not going to do cross-platform just because of the logistics entailed with that, and the PC gaming master race is going to have a huge advantage over the consoles. But I would like to see perhaps some way to interact between the two. And that's an ideal utopian thought, but I think it'd be cool if console players and PC players had to work together in their own versions of the game to conquer something. And that's probably way out in left field, but I think that'd be cool.
I see what you're saying. It's kind of like you're thinking like a Dust 514 type of...
Sort of like Dust, yeah.
Type of thing, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see that happen. Another thing we don't really know is the dev team thing. We don't really know if it's split dev teams or if it's the same team and they're porting it out, or we don't really know that. But we do know that they're going to be on separate servers. Somebody in the chat said that we didn't know that, but somebody early on said we did know that, and we do know that. So we do know that they're going to be on separate servers. Personally, if you had asked me about this a year ago, I probably would have been pissed off about the whole thing. I'm not very happy about it, but on the flip side, I mean, I don't really see it negatively affecting us. I know there's a fair amount of people out there that seem to think that this is going to mean like the end of the PC version of PlanetSide or something, and we're going to get completely nerfed into oblivion or something along those lines. I don't really foresee that happening. I think the next-gen console, like you said, it is weaker than a PC, but I think hopefully the platform is going to help them be able to keep things, fairly similar across the board. Obviously, it probably won't be able to be exact with controllers and all that good stuff. It would be a complete disaster, however, if they were all on the same server. Good thing that's not going to happen.
Well, you can tell they've been thinking about consoles at least a bit, because of the way that the controls and the interface is handled. You can access your weapons on a scroll wheel, which is something you couldn't do in PlanetSide 1.
True.
And I was always wondering about that. That's interesting. Maybe it's just a Battlefield or Call of Duty or a modern shooter carryover, but when I saw that in tech test, I thought that's very interesting that they're choosing to do it that way. So, I mean, you can easily do that on a controller with the left or right trigger buttons or whatever the new DualShock's going to look like. I hope it's the same. Movement with WASD, you deal with all of that with a single joystick, so you don't have to worry too much about extra buttons. I mean, you can tell if you look at the controls, they've definitely thought this through, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing I miss there, and that's probably going to bite the PlayStation 4 version in the ass big time, is the whole platoon chat, outfit chat, squad chat, command chat stuff. I mean, it's all going to be voice, obviously. You're not going to type a sentence with a PlayStation controller in the middle of a battle. Not gonna happen. But you still have just so many buttons, and we all know that some outfits have quite some complicated setups with communications between squads, platoons, and even ally outfits. And I think the PlayStation folks may be screwed at that end, because you just don't have enough buttons to have all the things mapped, besides the fact that the in-game voice is actually kind of terrible.
Yeah,
So-
that's definitely a good point. They're going to have to figure out a way to make all that stuff work. Because if they're going to actually have what they had in that trailer, which was a badass trailer, by the way, if they're actually going to have that, then yeah, they're going to have to figure out how all that voice crap is going to work on the PlayStation for sure.
Well, you won't have TeamSpeak and stuff like that on the PlayStation 4, so
Right.
that right there is going to hamper a lot of your communications. I don't know. I can't think of one outfit that doesn't use Mumble or TeamSpeak. So, like, I know the featured outfits in that thing, they weren't using in-game voice. They were using TeamSpeak. So,
Yeah, I mean, I can't foresee how they would ever have a robust, communication program like TeamSpeak or something like that to work on the PlayStation. So that's definitely something they're going to have to overcome or figure out how to make work a little bit better anyway. I have very little experience in multiplayer on console because I just suck at using console. So I don't really know how the sound or the audio works and any of that stuff right now. I'm guessing it's just you join and you're on the team. It's just wide open depending on the game, I'm assuming. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good point. I don't know how you're going to be able to organize stuff easily, if you don't have those fancy programs to use. Go ahead, Respire.
Be fine.
And no, I feel that's going to be a big part in how much of the audience they retain after it goes live. I know that, at least for myself and a lot of our members, a big part of it is for a community as well as being an outfit, and that's what's kept a lot of our players in the game who've thought about quitting before. And not being able to have a reliable form of communication outside of game, or even in-game at times, is going to hamper that.
Right. I agree. I totally agree on that aspect of it, for sure. What's all those random noises? Somebody, like, making food or something? What's this random noises? Wait, were you raising your hand over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I definitely agree with you guys as far as the massive scale support on a console. I'm not really sure how they're going to do that. That's something not only unique to PlanetSide as an MMOFPS, but even just MMORPGs. It's something really, really important to have down. So that's going to be interesting to see, to say the least. But I personally haven't been a console gamer in a very, very, very long time. I think I'm pretty much in the same boat as you, Hannah, with this type of stuff. I didn't even buy an Xbox 360. I think we got our PS3 like years late and hardly ever played it. So I don't even know if I'll buy a PS4. PlanetSide 2 is probably the only thing that may make me buy one, but I doubt I'll take it very seriously. But even so, that said, I think that it's a good move for the community, ultimately, after I thought about it. The console market, especially with first-person shooters, is very, very large. Like, take Call of Duty, for instance. And the exposure alone for the game, I think, will be good for both the development of it, for expanding our community. And, I mean, even if you think, like, with YouTubers and social media and streamers and stuff like that, like Battlefield 3, for instance, a lot of people who play Battlefield 3 on consoles will go watch Battlefield 3 PC streamers or YouTubers, and it just kind of brings the community together a little bit like that. So I think that it'll be pretty good. My only real concern is pretty much everything that's been voiced thus far. Hopefully it won't take away from the development or anything like that. I mean, John Smedley even said that the PlayStation 4 development will serve to improve PC gameplay by helping out with things like multi-core support. So I mean, you'll have things like that that'll also help us out. So I'm pretty optimistic about it. I don't know if I'll get too involved in it, but I think it'll be good at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody else? Comment? Concern? Flame? Just kidding. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, this is another thing that could actually help, and so it's going to bring more people into PlanetSide. On the flip side, I don't think those people will necessarily join the same communities. Console is kind of its own animal when it comes to that sort of stuff. I don't foresee that we'll have a huge influx of people that will say, come on, stuff like this, and talk about the game in the way that PC communities do. It just doesn't seem to be as big of a thing in a console community as it is in PC. So one thing that, this whole MLG partnership and the esports stuff that's been going on too, this is also going to help something like that, because most people who are into that stuff now are pretty young, and many of them have not even ever used a PC, which is a frightening thought to me, at least in terms of gaming, I should say. Because when I had a couple people come up to me and ask me literally how to play the game, like what all the keys were to run around and stuff, my mind was just blown. I couldn't even understand that. It didn't even make any sense to me. So I think it will help in that regard for that particular partnership they have going on too. I mean, obviously thoughts on esports are mixed, but it'll definitely, I think, help out that too. So did I see somebody raise their hand? And sorry, I've got multiple screens here, so sometimes it's hard for me to see what's going on in the others.
Just adjusting a lamp.
Okay. All right, so anybody else have any kind of final thoughts or closing thoughts? I mean, do you guys think it's so I think most of you said overall you think it'll probably be a good thing for the game, but does anybody think that, it's going to hurt anything in terms of PlanetSide 2? Are you guys worried at all, or anyone?
I would like to see at least like some kind of beta test or something with cross-platform play, just to see what would happen, because a lot of the people talking about how console players are going to destroy, PC players are going to destroy console players, is done based off a single article that came out on, I think, Gamastra, that website, about how the the original Xbox and the PC were done with the original Halo. And it's been quite a bit of time since then, so it would be very interesting to see if some technology has improved to make it more an even playing field. But just in the context of a test server, like nothing. Get like 60 people from the PC and 60 people from the console and have them battle out. See what happens. I would love to see some public data on that.
I can tell you what happens because it has been tested not just with Halo, but with dozens and dozens of games, and both the PlayStation 3 as well as on PC. Plug a game controller into your PC, try to play a first-person shooter, get rolled. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And at the
I just want to own some console people for a little bit, but
I mean, my brother has a PlayStation 3, and he played whatever first-person shooter it was for a while with a controller. I just came along, told him, try it with mouse and keyboard, see what happens. He did. He rolled the server. Straight away. Just killed everyone, easily. And that's just how it is. Mouse and keyboard is always superior to working controllers. Just because you have way more control if you know how to use them.
I think the only place it would be even is flight, because I tried to get an Xbox controller working flying, because I really wanted to see if I could do it. And the joystick controls suck in PlanetSide 2, so no joystick controls. But I would love to see it like flying and tank battle, like because I think the Mag Rider would actually be really fun with a controller.
Yeah, I agree. Flying and tanks, basically vehicles in general, probably completely even. I mean, mouse and keyboard isn't really optimal for driving a tank, but infantry is where it matters.
Well, Mag Rider would be, I think, the other two tanks. Sure, there's no way you need mouse and keyboard for those, but I think the Mag Rider would fit perfect for controller. just because of the front-facing cannon that you only have to move up and down, and you lob shots anyway. So it'd be a lot of fun.
Cool. Any other thoughts, opinions?
I was just going to say that Evil Red Rum made a pretty good comment in the chat that the cross-platform play for PlanetSide 2 in particular is a bad idea, just because we've had that edge on them that we've been playing this game so much longer than somebody who would jump into it on consoles. I agree with the mouse and keyboard thing for sure, but I mean that's an additional layer of experience that we all have playing the game on PC already.
Yeah, there was a game. I think somebody mentioned this early on. There was a game that Xbox tried to do cross-platform, and it wasn't all that long ago. I don't think it was Halo. I can't remember what it was. I was talking about it on on Thursday with somebody, and it's totally escaping me. I forgot what the name of the game was, so I am of no use at all. Sorry.
Chad says Shadowrun.
Yes, that is the game. That's the game. So apparently it was attempted in that game, and it failed epically. So I think it would be a stupid thing for them to do, to be honest. It's just dumb. I think it doesn't make any sense. Just keep them on their own server and, keep everything separate. If there's a problem with the PC, or if there's a problem with the build or whatever, then it doesn't affect, it doesn't cross back and forth. There aren't problems, that are affecting each other, stuff like that. So I think it makes sense to keep them separate, just kind of all across the board. So, and they're going to do that. So, anyway, all right. Well, any final thoughts? Final thoughts? No. All right. Cool. I'm curious when to see when we're going to see this. How long it's going to take for it. Well, actually, let's see. PlayStation 4, what, holiday season? Correct. That's what the announcement was.
Yeah. Well. They haven't fully announced a date, but...
Yeah, I'm assuming we're probably going to hear a date next week, if I was a gambling man. Actually, it's this week now.
If you're a gambling man, you wouldn't make any money on that one.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I wouldn't at all. So I'm sure we'll probably hear announcements from probably both the Xbox and the PlayStation 4 on that this week, so... it'd be cool. It would be pretty badass if it was preloaded or something like that on the PlayStation 4. That would be epic, but I don't know if that'll actually happen. It would also be really cool if we could see, PlanetSide 2 show up in the crazy press conferences that they do, with all the, all the bells and whistles going on and all the big videos. It would be really cool to see PlanetSide 2 on that front. I don't know if we're going to see that or not, but
the video is short enough it could possibly fit into. That was funny.
The 5.0. They're after
right?
me, man.
The video is short enough it could probably fit in the SOE or the Sony conference, because just do a reel of videos and then probably have somebody like Igby or somebody stand up on the stage.
Yeah, man, that
show
would
the video.
That would be really cool, because there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people watching that. So
oh yeah,
it would be really cool to get that exposure for sure.
I'm gonna have to monitor population bump after that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, if they do it. I mean, I think the PlayStation conference is on. It might be on Monday. It might be on Monday evening, I think.
Yeah.
So.
It'll be streamed. It's probably one of the bigger conferences people are going to watch. So it'll be very interesting to see if PlanetSide 2 does get featured there. I would put money on the fact that we get a population bump.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know, but we'll definitely see more people play.
I don't know what time it is on Monday, but I'll probably be on a plane, I'm guessing. So if it is on there, I'm probably going to miss it. So fail.
Well, I do hope that if they mention PlanetSide 2 and the whole PlayStation 4 thing, that they also say that it's right now on PC. And just go play now. Don't wait for the PlayStation 4.
Right.
I have nothing else to say. You can now switch.
I'm just messing with you. It's fun. He'll just be sitting there awkwardly looking at the camera for the rest of the entire episode while I don't say anything. It's like, whatever. All right, cool. Well, unless anybody else has any more closing thoughts, we'll go ahead and move on. Anything? All right, cool. All right, so let's talk about the recent game updates. I don't know where you guys want to begin on that. There's been quite a few game updates since we've done an episode of this. We've got the new alerts. I believe the Lattice has come in since we did our last episode.
Yeah, came update 9 and 10.
So there's a lot of big things. So let's start with the Lattice. How do you guys feel about it? Do you feel that it's making Indar more interesting, or is it dumb and it's causing everybody to play on Indar? No, not like that happened before or anything. We'll start. Looks like Robo raised his hand first, so we'll go ahead and start with him. What are your thoughts on the new Lattice?
Well, yeah, as far as the Lattice goes, I really like the fact that the avenues of approach to the warp gates specifically require, for instance, if VS is in the southwest warp gate, you got to have NC and TR together pushing on you in order to actually take you, because NC has mostly control of that last lane. Now, the TR, if they have enough pop, for instance, could push in and take that lane, but that's a much harder thing to do than previously in the Hex system, where the TR could say, screw you, NC, we don't need you, and they'll just push down and kill us. Or vice versa. I really like the fact that now it takes multiple empires pushing on multiple lanes to do the kind of damage that before could be done pretty cheesily by one empire. So I definitely think it's become more interesting. 10 stars, 2 thumbs up.
All right. I just want to comment on one thing before I move on. Clegg said in the Twitch chat, Clegg is chilling out in there. He said that he actually asked Smet about the reveal during the conference, and he wasn't sure. So it may or may not show up in the conference. But all right, moving right along. Who wanted to go next? We'll go It's Murda next, and then we'll go with Roy right after that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just going to say about Lattice, I think that Lattice in and of itself is a really good idea. I'm not sure how much I like it right now, and I think that's mostly because of the scale. And I might be alone here or in a very small minority, but I personally don't like that PlanetSide 2 is 2,000 players on a continent. I prefer probably 1,000 players on a continent.
What?
It's like 4 to 5 times larger than PlanetSide 1 offered you like 400, 500 people on a continent. So I don't really like how it puts so many people, not only for lag problems, because I think all the servers are pretty much feeling that right now, where Indar or alerts or really dense areas get so delayed. And I just I've been spending more time on Esamir and Emmerich than Indar since Game Update 9. So that's just me. I think the Lattice in and of itself is a really good idea, but I think that so many people in one area causes problems as a separate issue that's now made a bigger issue because of the Lattice putting all those people in the same spot. So that's just my thoughts on it, but I'm sure I'm in the minority. But.
So your thoughts really are based around performance, not necessarily anything else.
Yeah, and I mean just how much you enjoy playing the game because of that, at any given time.
Okay. I think Basti might have had a small aneurysm when you said that, but I think he'll be okay. All right. Roy was up next. Sorry, Basti. I mean, next. You'll be next.
I like it. I think it improved the gameplay in lower population. Higher population times. I completely agree with Murda actually. Where it just becomes a lag fest, a grind fest. Like you put 300 people onto Crossroads Watchtower and GG. So I think some of the links are kind of interesting, especially in the area around the Highlands and the seabed where you have to Dahaka and Sarva. If you look at that, all links lead to Sarva when you're coming up from the south, which that base... I mean, biolabs are bad. They're a grinder, you put more than 10 people on a biolab and you just simply cannot take it without 2 or 3 times the numbers. And in certain cases, that's just too many. So the fact that all the links lead to Sarva is kind of annoying, but VS is on the other side now, so it doesn't matter. I think also, like, in terms of the alert, the new tech plan alerts and the facility alerts, on a Lattice, those single continent alerts really, really suck because of the Lattice, and only because of the Lattice. I think they're fine on the other 2 continents, but when you have everybody pile in on one tech plant and not able to attack it from more than one angle, you just have 300 people on one side of a wall, 300 people on the other side of the wall, and you're just throwing grenades at each other, and it's really, really fun. So, sarcastic fun there.
All right. Basti, do you want to go next?
I'm disappointed, Roy.
What?
When you have 300 people on one side of a wall, why do you stand with 300 people on the other side? Flank around them. That's what we're doing, and we have brilliant fun every time we do it.
Well,
That's really the Lattice in a nutshell. People complain that they have to run against the Zerg, but you don't have to run against the Zerg. You can just outplay the Zerg without the Zerg going elsewhere because they just got beaten by you. They have to go through you, so you just defend them elsewhere and flank them instead of just standing in front of them and getting farmed.
I was mostly talking about the facility alerts, the single continent facility alerts, where you have to go to Tark, Tech Plant, Havar, and Mao. Those are the 3 bases of the alert. You don't have options for flanking there. You have to take those 3 bases, one of those 3 bases, in order to win the alert. So you're stuck throwing yourself into the grinder of the Zerg.
But that's really the alerts.
Yeah, well, I mean, on the other continents, it's not a big deal, because the other continents, you could flank around, you could get a surround, you could attack from all angles, which forces the Zerg to collapse inwards. But on the, for example, on Indar, there's only 2 possible links into Targe Tech Plant from the Southwest Warp Gate. So you are forced to come in through either the tower, which towers are always a grindfest. That one specifically not so bad because the point isn't in the tower. But you're forced to come in from 2 angles only. You can't come in from behind because you can't get around up through Crossroads Watchtower down around the other way unless you go all the way up through the Crown, Zervin, and around. You have to cut through Snake Ravine Lookout and Aleta. It's 10 or 12 links to get around the other direction that could be easily cut off. So it doesn't work. The Lattice and the single continent facilities alerts just don't work together.
Nah. I'm actually kind of stunned right now. Why do you need a link from one side to attack from that side?
Because if you don't have a link, then they have a spawn point behind you and you just blow up your Sunders.
If they are all inside the tower, then whatever, let them have that spawn point. You coming with 30-40 tanks from behind and just melt them. And that's the Lattice. That's what you do. You think outside of the box. You don't follow the lane. You let other people follow the lane, and you just do the stuff that needs to be done in order to take that base, and that is going around the lane.
Well, especially in regards to Targe Tech Plant, you can't go around because of the canyons. You just, like I said, you have to go up through the Crown and down around through Crossroads, which 20-30 tanks is going to get noticed and blown up by whatever's there, Phoenixes and Strikers or Lancers.
Depends on the situation, yes.
Yeah, it depends on the situation. Just Mao is alright. I think it's the only tech plant that's okay in terms of the Lattice. Havar is way too much of a grinder, and Tarch was way too much of a grinder. So, the theory makes sense if you have perfectly available lanes to pass around and get behind them. But when it comes to Endar, you don't have those lanes. You are stuck going through the grinders. So.
You guys are looking at a Lattice fight right now in the server camp.
Yeah, that's a Lattice.
Yeah. All the other Lattice fights are great. It's just when it comes down to it, the single continent facility alerts and the Lattice, they clash so hard together. They're just not fun.
I actually love those fights because you see dozens of Thunderers driving around, dozens of tanks. When the outfit is on, what we do, we sit on some hill somewhere, Thunderer behind us in cover, behind hill, grab the Lancers, open fire.
Yeah.
That's what when I play on Watterson or Matterson or other servers, I don't see that. People are not using the Lancer, they assume it's shit, but it's actually the best fucking AV weapon in the entire game, because there's no lock-on. They don't see it coming, they just explode. And doing that on the Lattice is fun. Trying to do that on the hack system doesn't work. Because people just ignore you. People just constantly go around you. Just, yeah, there's some enemies there, I don't go there, I want to go to this empty X because I want to capture space and feel special. Fuck you!
Well, I mean, that's what you were complaining about before when I was talking about the tech plans and stuff. You said just go around them, and yeah. I don't know. We use the Lancer actually a lot on Esamir, on Matheson. Shout out to the NC on Matheson who like to throw themselves into our Lancer fire on Esamir.
But
All right.
what the one thing that I really miss in the Lattice right now, what the hex system actually had, and that is just the fact is that you had more choices. And for that, NTU benefit generators that transfer benefits through the Lattice, and maybe the resources, so you have those gen holes and those NTU drains again. Stuff to do besides throwing yourself at the Zerg or flanking directly at the Zerg. That's what we need.
Yeah, I agree on the siege mechanic. The game needs a siege mechanic, because right now you just sit on one of the single cat bait like a tech plant. You just sit on the point with 300 people. You simply cannot take it if you're inside the actual building. Like, it doesn't matter about flanking when you're inside the tech plant's main facility. If you just put 300 people there, like, what do? You throw a grenade, get 10 kills, there's 10 more people right behind them. Like,
Yeah, that is definitely a good point. Yeah, it is hard to get in once. I don't know. For me, it almost feels like there's a point where it's just like there's too many damn people, and I don't want less people on the continent, but there's a lot of point in times where there's just like so many people somewhere that it's impossible to do anything until maybe the other empire comes in or something and shakes everything up. But I mean, I don't dislike the Lattice. I like that there's something in there to focus things now. What I really wish. Hey, how you doing? Somebody honking horns now. What I would really like to see with the game is not necessarily re-adding of PlanetSide 1 related features. I'd like to see them start trying some stuff that's completely like off, completely out there that was never done in PlanetSide 1 or 2, and start trying some things different just to see where they go or see where they take them or see if they're even worth putting any more in. I'm thinking things like deployable resource gatherers that you'd have to fight over and things along those lines. I'm just kind of worried that they're going down the same path of PlanetSide 1, and ultimately, we're going to hit a niche that there's not really going to be, a lot of people playing. It'll become too niche again. I'd like to see a lot of different things start going into the game to start mixing things up. And I don't think, like I said, I don't think the Lattice is a bad thing, but I'm just worried that almost everything we're seeing on the roadmap and all that sort of stuff is really just reinvention of what we've already had. And I know that's what a lot of people want. Personally, it's not what I want. I want to see them start trying some different things and just, completely shaking it up. And I know there'll be a lot of people that'll be resistant to that, but, it is what it is. I would just prefer to see them go down those roads. And they hinted at some of that stuff very early on, and then we just really never saw anything else about it, or it just kind of fell by the wayside. And now they're just kind of going down those same similar paths as they did in 1. And some of the solutions that they're coming to, I mean, they worked in PlanetSide 1, and they're somewhat working here in PlanetSide 2, but I don't know. I'd like to see more. I'd like to see things changed, some really, random stuff to just new mechanics, new stuff, new deployable stuff, sandbox stuff, stuff along those lines, personally, anyway. Anyway,
like empty continents and your outfit builds their own bases there?
No, I don't really. I honestly don't really like outfit bases in an outfit-owned continent. I just don't like that, because that's going to benefit large outfits, and that's not going to really benefit anybody else. I'm not going to be able to take part in that with my outfit. I'm not going to be able to own an outpost or control an outpost and defend it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are some outfits that will be able to accomplish that, that have thousands of members or whatever. I don't like.
That's why you make friends.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, I'm not a big fan of that, and we've heard about that, and I think that's probably something we're going to get at some point. But I don't know. I'm not too sold on that either. I'd like to see them start adding that sort of stuff into the game world as it is now, not necessarily its own continent for that. I'd like to see them start playing around with that sort of stuff in the live game and on live continents, and just see what happens. Your outfit or team or squad or whatever deploys, some sort of gatherer of some kind, and it starts giving a huge bonus to your empire. And obviously the other empire would want to destroy it. So, I mean, that's just one idea, but that's the kind of stuff that I would kind of like to see in the game. Anyway, I just totally went off the deep end with that sort of stuff.
Almost too ready to show.
Totally off the lattice, just whoosh, right out there, man. I was done. Anyway, let me get back to the lattice. Everybody kind of spoke up on the lattice? Does anybody else have any more thoughts or anything along those lines of what I was mentioning or anything like that? Lots of hands being raised. We'll start from the left on my screen anyway and move to the right. So that would make Robo first.
The only last comment I had about Lattice was we noticed this on Amrish. I don't know if this is a bug or if this is intentional. We noticed that when we were attacking a base, if the only adjacent base was hacked, even if we had control of the point and we were actively recovering the base, we couldn't do anything at the adjacent base. We couldn't take down the generator. We couldn't hack the point. We can do anything. We'd already won the base. There were no enemies in the other hacks. We were just waiting probably for about a minute and 30 seconds for the hack to go through before we could compromise the generators and move into the point. That felt sluggish and kind of, I don't want to say unfair, but sort of unnecessary. I mean, if it's a situation where you've got an active fight over a hex, then I agree you shouldn't be able just to move on to the next hex. That's the benefit of the system. But in a situation where we've killed everybody at the other base, we've secured the point, and we are actively taking the point back, and it's ticking down for us. It's going to take another minute or so. I think we should be able to go in and hack the other base. There's no fight there. There's no reason we shouldn't be able to go in. And this is both on Lattice and Hex continents right now. And I don't like it. I'd like to know what the rest of the panelists think about this.
All right. Yeah, I thought I saw Respire raise his hand. Go ahead and go next, sir.
Well, sort of following up on that, and just on Lattice in general. As you know, Hema, we're a smaller outfit, similar numbers to you, and I mean we have 170 members, which range from 40 to 80% online activity per week. But with those numbers, we're not going to be able to man huge zergs that can push these individual points. And with the Lattice, those options became sort of limited in terms of what we can do. But on the same note, it's brought it down to we can choose to become superior in tactics within the Zerg and do things like make sure we keep the internal spawn Sunday down in a tech plant, or we have to do things like contest the base beforehand, as Robo was talking, to prevent people from moving on. It's just there's a lot we can do, but I feel that there's a lot of side objectives missing for smaller outfits. And whether that can be solved with something like an NTU and ANT system, or something completely new, I'd like to see something like that.
All right. Yeah, no, I mean, we've touched on small outfit play quite frequently in the past, too. So, Roy, I know you were up next. Go ahead.
Yeah, in response to what Robo said, I actually like the fact that you need an uncontested link. In the Hex system, it actually doesn't come into play very often because there's so many, each base links to so many other bases that you will very rarely not have an uncontested link. That is, I think it's, I actually really, really like that mechanic in the Hex system because it gives you the half of the Lattice system. If you only have one link, then you have to make sure you hold your link, and they can then defend where you're attacking to next. But like on the Lattice, it seems to really favor the attackers because you take so the attackers take a base, you go, you conquer it, you lock it down, you clear it out. Your base is now secure, and you can immediately start the cap on the next one down the line. To where the defenders, should they repel the attack, they must then wait until the base is done ticking down and secured, and then they can move on to the next one. So that forces it's a momentum shift. It allows the attackers to regain their momentum very quickly after the base, after a successful defense, which allows you to make a new attack into that base before the defenders have a chance to regroup and push off. I think in terms of defending and pushing, that is very, very, very bad. But in terms of like in the Hex system, I don't think it ever really comes into play unless you're trying to overextend.
We were outside our warp gate.
Oh. Well,
no, but what you said actually, you brought it together really nicely. Yeah, we were on defense, so to speak, and we pushed them out, and we were pushing back on the NC, and then we couldn't do anything because we had to wait for that. So yeah, exactly what you just described. That's exactly what happened, and that was why it was frustrating.
It hampers the defenders because you really need to capitalize on the momentum of repelling attack. The fact that you have scattered the attackers and are able to push before they get tanks and stuff back, like they're currently sitting in vehicle queues. That's what they're doing. So what do you, like, if you have to wait a minute and a half, their vehicle queue is going to empty out, so now you have to sit and wait in vehicle queues while their vehicles are barreling down back towards your base. Like, you need that momentum shift. You just got the momentum, now you lost it because you're waiting on a timer to tick down. So I think something needs to be done there for defense specifically, but not for attacking. You should not be able to, like, either some way of cooling down the attack, like locking the next base for a little bit before the attackers can then start taking it, or something like that to give the momentum shift a little bit of time. Like, you need to let the defenders get their momentum back.
There needs to be no system for that. There needs to be brain for those folks playing the defenders. That's really odd. We had the exact same situation on Miller today. We were NSCQ Delta Lab, Banu Archives, Ayani Labs. NC had a massive push through Ayani Labs, or was it T or whatever? No, it wasn't T. Through Ayani Labs onto NSCQ Delta Labs and Banu Archives. And the VS was just getting farmed at Ayani Labs. So I told them, get the fuck back to Banu Archives, wait for them, let them come. And they did, and they got destroyed completely, just because we prepared, just because we were ready for them, and that's all you need. Get your ass together.
That's not the point we were making, because what we're saying is once you've won a defense, because that happens, you win defenses, you have to wait for your timers to tick down before you can attack the next base. So you have to fully secure your base before you can attack the next one, which it forces you into a stalemate in defense, because it doesn't allow defenders to get their momentum up.
It doesn't stop you from attacking them. It just stops you from taking the point.
Yeah, and minutes matter when
important.
attacking.
That's not important. What's important is to lock them inside the spawn room. And
You can't.
that's what
No,
we need to fix.
you can't lock them inside the spawn room with the new tunnel system, though. In a large facility, yeah, you can rush the spawns and wait. They're going to go through the tunnels, go into the tech plant where they have their shields still up, because you can't take the shields down because you haven't. Your timer on your base hasn't finished yet. That's sort of the crux of the matter.
Tunnels on your server?
Yes, we
Yeah.
use the tunnels constantly on our server.
Oh my god, the tunnel's the most powerful thing.
Most powerful thing.
Miller people are too fucking stupid to see the tunnels.
You don't know strength until you see 100 people pouring out of one tunnel. Like, wow, those things you immediately win your fight. Like, you just mass up, pour out of a tunnel, take the point back into the fight. Easy peasy.
Yeah, I've definitely seen it change the course of battle quite a few times on Waterson.
I think a C4 would be good there. Or two.
It's not enough. You send like 3 people out at the start. The test has a kind of a strategy for this. You send like 1 or 2 people out to blow up all the prox mines and C4 and shit, because they're gonna blow it on the first like 3 people that come out, and then you pour out through with a platoon, and they're like, well, we don't have anything left, and then you just kind of kill them all.
Well, in the case of a tech plant, park 2 Sunderers with Furies, and
Or just park us under on top. That's always funny.
Before we derail anymore, yeah, you're right. If you attack a facility and you have those shields and you're still capping your last base, kind of a problem indeed. But that's the reason for that is really the stupid change that you can take down generators without actually having adjacent to the base.
I think
Whatever fucking reason they put that in.
I think you should have adjacency, yes. An unsecured link, no. Like, I think you should be able to blow up generators with an unsecured link, because there's a secured link, which means your base is not under attack. You're not waiting on a timer. There's the unsecured link. There's a timer on one of the links, and you can't, like, because there's a timer, you don't have adjacency. So it gives you adjacency so you can blow up generators, but you can't start the cap. I think that would be a decent compromise. It lets you get your momentum back, but at the same time doesn't. It forces you to have to defend your back bases.
I think it should just let you blow everything up you want, but don't get XP for it. Why do you need to get XP for blowing up something?
Because you did stuff and things.
You have to reward actions in some way.
Can I get an achievement as well?
If you'd like one, we can.
Up the terminal.
We'll get that for you.
They're called ribbons now.
Oh right, sorry, not achievements. My bad. I know. There's one thing that we can all agree on, and that's that this could always use improvement.
Yeah.
We can always use improvement to the current system. So with that being said, let's kind of shuffle things along. Unless anybody has any last-minute comments on the Lattice. And no. So I mean, the Lattice is a good thing, I think, overall. But yeah, I think it definitely needs some improvement. It could be made better in numerous ways, and I'd like to see it improve for sure. All right, so I don't know if everybody just lost my sound or not. I'm hoping not, because
No, here.
that's random. All the little bars on the mixer just stopped moving, but it's still functioning, so that's fun. All right, so let's talk about the new alerts that were just added. I think we've kind of touched on them a little bit here and there throughout our conversation so far today, but what's everybody's thoughts on the new alert system? Full disclosure, I haven't actually tried them yet, so I will not be saying a whole lot on this particular topic, but if you have, feel free to comment on it. So I saw Respire raising his hand there first, I think. So
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and go to him first. Go ahead.
Well, at least for Watterson, in the case of the new biolab alerts, for example, we have 3 factions, we have 3 biolabs, and they're all in relative proximity to each warp gate. So once that alert goes up, what happens is each faction pushes their entire Zerg into their closest biolab and sits there for 2 hours, during which it's almost impossible to capture because of the amount of lag. So that's a bit iffy. Otherwise, in terms of the global alerts, I'm liking the plus 20% XP, regardless of where I am. I think that's all I really have to say for it.
It doesn't happen. You only get the plus 20 XP if you're in the zone that is contestable. So, like, if you're biolab alerts, global, you only get the plus 20 XP if you're in the zone for the biolab.
Then it may have been population when I was last on, because I had a plus 20% during a global alert.
It might be... Oh, okay. I don't know about the continent-wide ones. I wasn't checking, but for the global ones, it's definitely as long as you're in the zone. Because we just had one yesterday on Atherson, where it was global biolabs, and only if you were in the biolab did you get the plus 20%. So.
What the hell is Basti doing?
I don't know.
I will show him on the screen just because I don't know what he's doing. It scares me.
Don't.
Scares me. Whatever's
I'm
happening.
just having a smoke.
All right. Okay. New alert system. Next. Anyone?
Wait.
Well, you're not even there. He's not even there anymore. His seat is empty.
Yeah, he's gone, man.
I-
Sure, Cam.
I honestly don't have a lot to say about it either, but I mean, I can go while he's getting ready if you want.
All right. You can go ahead.
So, yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say pretty much a lot of the same stuff that Respire said. It hasn't made a whole lot of difference for me, honestly, yet. It seems like there's more alerts than there were before. Like they're happening more frequently. I don't know if that's just, random luck or not, but it hasn't changed a whole lot of how I play. Some of the specific continent ones, like the biolab ones, like they said, are kind of gross, and I've ended up avoiding them most of the time, honestly, especially if I would be attacking the biolab. But the global ones I probably like the most because it spreads things out a little bit. I mean, it probably echoes the comment that I made earlier with the Lattice, but I like having the different options where now I have alerts that I can. If I don't like how it looks on Indar, there's still something I can do to contribute on one of the other continents. So that's pretty much where I'm at with it. But I mean, why not? No problem with it at all. I think it's a good change.
Okay. Cool. All right, Basti, do you actually have something to say, or are you just messing around?
Yeah, I just don't like the global ones.
Okay.
They are completely screwed over on service with population imbalance. Like, what is this window doing here? I just seen on the stream, Miller. We have a high TR pop, 40% from time to time, and just no fun with global alerts. You just steamroll one continent, maybe steamroll the other continent, and the third continent you're just trying to hold on. Not fun. The continent-only biolabs are kinda iffy. Everyone's just going for the biolab and everything just lags. They need to fix that. The other ones, more fun.
In my experience, all biolabs are full of scat maxes, like all of them. Doesn't
And
matter.
Zoe maxes now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what empire is there. It's just always scat maxes. That's what I find. There should be a alert kill all scat maxes. Actually, what the hell? Let's add an alert for kill all maxes in a specified amount of time. See how many maxes you kill. You win at the end. You know. No. You can build a Voltron max when you're done. When you win. All right. Anybody else have? Oh, Roy. You've kind of commented, but you didn't actually get to say what you thought about it. So
Yeah. I really like the global ones, unlike Basti. I love the global ones during prime time. I think they're the best prime time alert, because then you do have the massive Zergs. We were slightly underpopulated at the beginning of the global biolab alert, and then we managed to completely destroy it. We started with 4 of the biolabs because we had 2 biolabs on Amerish, and then we ended with 8 of them. It's a balancing act with population across continents, and if you have good coordination between your... Wow, that is a map.
Yeah. I figured I'd bring that up. Poor TR on Waterson right now on Indar.
Go VS. It's a balancing act of population, and you have to have really good coordination between your outfits, which is not something I've seen on other servers, because I play on other servers. I play mostly on Matherson, but I have seen other servers and listened to their command chats and stuff like that, and Matherson VS balances population and their outfits very well. So the global alerts are really fun during prime time. When there's less population on, I can see how they're really terrible. As for the single continent facility alerts, I cannot stand them. They are the most... I just log off. They're not fun. Because you just throw 300 people into a base and you simply can't take it. You have to rely on... If one faction has 2 bases, you have to... Theirs and maybe... Let's say, like, the NC have Mao and Havar. You require the third faction to attack into the dominant faction's other base in order to break the hold with their entire population, which means they're not defending their tech plant, so that it gets taken. Strategically, it's incredibly difficult to to change hands of any of the facilities when you have half population on a server. So I can't stand the single continent ones, especially on Endar, for the reasons. Wow, my cat just jumped onto my leg and grabbed me.
See, it's inevitable that the cat will try and interfere with squad beacon broadcasts, any AGN broadcast for that matter. Cats they don't like the show for some reason.
He jumped onto my leg and slipped and fell and 4 claws into my leg.
Well, of course, he doesn't want to fall down. Doesn't matter what happens to your leg.
That YouTube video I posted with the cat scratching the crap out of the PlanetSide Universe website.
Oh yeah, that was epic.
Maybe just PlanetSide Universe. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta. That was awesome. That video. Got a good kick out of that. Hopefully you didn't like that monitor too much.
No, I'm not using it anymore, so it's just as well actually. So
all right,
I have 2 new, one new one and one other one. So.
Yeah, and it looks like your cat is actually on the move right now, so I'd keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen.
Watch out for that.
I haven't seen any of mine. We have 3 in this house, and apparently they know better than to come up and harass me. So I shouldn't have said that. Probably listening. All right, new alerts. Anybody else? No comments? All right, cool. Well, let's move into something else, and I don't know what that other thing is. Does anybody have anything that they want to bring up in particular?
I'm thinking, Game Update 11 quality of life things probably good to talk about.
All right.
That'll be coming in a couple weeks.
We can do that. What's been previewed on that? It's not ringing a bell for some reason.
There was that screenshot.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot in particular. There was just Higby was gathering feedback on.
Oh, we can
Reddit
talk about Nexus.
yeah. Okay, talk about the Nexus.
Oh yeah, that's right. I
Um,
remember now. That was that big, huge feedback thread that
Right,
he
yeah.
posted. Yeah, that's
So
right.
it's
Okay.
not going to necessarily be new content, but rather,
Mhm.
quality of life fixes and things like
Yeah, so
that.
UI updates and improvements and just things to make the game less annoying.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I like that stuff the most. I'd rather that over new content. Again, I'm probably in the minority, but fixing what we already have, or improving, how enjoyable it is or how not frustrating it is, definitely takes the cake over just getting a new gun or something like that, new decals for me. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I like that.
I really enjoy seeing those too. I wouldn't mind seeing the quality of life patches, every other game update, because there's
Right.
always room for improvement. Because every time you add a new game, every time you add a new, some new feature, there's always more room for improvement. So they could come back and loop back and make all sorts of updates to the game. I haven't actually had a chance to play since the customizable squad colors either. So that's kind of an interesting change. Although I can see that being confusing if you change your colors and you say, "Oh, I'm this color," and everybody else is like, "No, I'm that color." So I can
Yeah.
see
So same
where.
note, what if you colorblind members?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's always
Yeah.
that too. Robo's raising his hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually they've made a couple of quality of life improvements in Game Update 10, which I was really happy about. But to talk about the squad colors, definitely a good addition. Especially, I mean, I know in Goder we have several colorblind players. They've said it's been a lot easier now, but it is difficult for squad cohesion when people will call out, enemy AMS on green 6. We've got to get people to say Alpha 6 now, and we just have to make everyone learn what color is which. The problem with that is vehicles don't have numbers on the minimap, they're just colors. So
Yeah.
I would ask, if any dev sees this, please let us have numbers on vehicles on the
Yeah,
minimap,
we've
even
been
if it's
asking-
just the driver.
We've been asking for that for a while. I remember that. I mean, that
Yeah.
came up in beta. I always wondered
Yeah.
why we couldn't see we couldn't see
The
a
driver
number on it.
number.
Doesn't make any sense. I would, yeah. I mean, that would be a quality of life improvement. So
Yes,
Yes,
definitely.
yes it would.
so it'd be nice to see that added for sure.
In addition, though, I don't think this is in the patch notes, but if you've noticed, when you set a waypoint, the squad leader or the platoon leader sets a waypoint, a little message pops up and says a platoon waypoint has been added, or the platoon waypoint has been updated. That's really cool.
Oh,
That is
cool.
an amazing addition. I didn't see it in the patch notes. I saw it in game and was floored. That's just such a simple thing to add that really makes it awesome.
Where does that show up on
Um,
the screen?
It shows
chat
up in
box.
your chat box and also a small message at the bottom of your screen.
Okay,
Pops up.
that's cool. That
Where
sounds
experience
good.
pops up.
Oh, okay, very cool.
I was trolling people in test the other day by just moving the waypoint very little bit, like 100 times.
Nice. All right. Did you have anything else there, Robo? Or is you good?
I think that was all I had on my list.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, a couple of bugs came back. There's a spontaneous vehicle explosion bug that needs to be quashed. Other than that, no, that's all I had.
Spontaneous combustion of vehicles.
Yeah, I was in a mag rotor the
never
other
good.
day, and we were just driving down the road and it exploded.
Yeah, that's not cool.
I hadn't seen that since tech test, so I hope I hope maybe it's just a one-time thing. But if it's back, we need to quash that.
Yeah, it could have been a desync thing too. We've seen that desync bug float around quite frequently too, where you just get out of sync with the game, and you don't see what's shooting at you, but you're actually being shot at. I've seen that a couple times myself, but not all that frequently. But it definitely is. I think it's still out there, so that'd be nice to.
That's usually caused by infantry outside of your render range hitting you with stuff.
Yeah, that
I
makes
know it
sense.
happens with the Lancer a lot. Anybody playing against the Lancer gets hit by invisible bolts of death. So
Right, and you can't really see where it's coming from, and you can't really
you
hear
just
it.
start taking damage and then you die, and that's,
Yeah.
that's the Lancer.
Man, that's got to be my most hated type of weapon, is the one that you just like, "Huh," and you're taking damage, and next thing you know, you die.
My least favorite thing right now, though, is the Phoenixes that just like they arc up into the air and then you get hit from the ground. Somebody posted a video on Reddit about he was repairing his harasser, and you could see like the Phoenix rocket just shoot off in straight line up into the sky, and like gets it right over his vehicle, and then he takes damage. But the Phoenix rocket isn't being directed, so that bug is really annoying.
Yeah, that's not cool at all. All right. Anybody else have any specific topics that they want to bring up?
Just going to echo what Swisher just said in chat about being able to see the other squads on your HUD other than the squad that you're just in. I think that would be really good. Something that I asked for as well. I think that would help out a lot with that. And then something I think you and I both asked Matt Higby when he was on last month about being able to change your map colors separate from your HUD colors.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I'm still waiting for that as well.
Yeah,
especially when I play with like gray and red for enemies and friendlies, and then I'm on TR and red's friendly, and then I'm not on TR. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's weird, especially for TR, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with that one. I mean, I just want to be able to independently control the two. That's all.
Right.
I still get confused even to this day when I see the colors, and I don't know. It's just weird. Confuses me. So I'll run into a point that's actually not mine. It happens. Did I see you raising your hand there, Aspire? Or no?
Yes, you did.
You did? Okay, go ahead, sir.
Another thing that came in Game Update 9 was the tutorial system, which it covers your basic classes, game mechanics, which are pretty common in FPS games. There's WASD, how to aim, how to shoot, and then how to use things like terminals, teleporters, redeploy, and instant action. And no, I thought it was really good for new players. It definitely has a lot of new things they could dive into with it, and as Malorn stated in the F&O spotlight they did for it, they are exploring expanding the tutorial, including tying it into the new mission system, where it's sort of a passive thing. As you go through the game on your first time you come across something, a little info tidbit will pop up. I know, I just thought it was a really good addition for new players.
Agreed. Yeah, I wish they had that from the start, to be honest. It's kind of dropped the ball on that one. It would have been nice to see that from the very beginning. Another thing that showed up as a piece of that was the when you hit the button to instant action, it shows where you're going to actually instant action to, which was another nice little quality of life update that they added to the game. So I was happy to see that, because instant action used to be just total gamble. You have no idea where you're going to go, but now you can at least see where you're going to go before so you can choose to cancel it if you want to. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, I went from like never using it to using it quite often now, because I would just use the squad deploy for the same cooldown before. So I think it's a really good change.
Yeah, I agree. It's a nice little tweak. I mean, I don't use instant action a ton, but when I do use it, it's nice to know where I'm going. I mean, if I'm going to go to a continent that I don't really feel like playing on, then I'll just cancel it and find a fight on the continent that I want to fight on.
Yeah.
So it's a nice feature to add to the game for sure.
I usually just fly into battle.
What's that?
So I usually just fly into battle with a scythe, because I have rocket pods on my... Ow! My cat just decided to claw me again. Because I have rocket pods on my scythe, so I go in, deliver myself into battle, get a couple kills with the rocket pods or the gun on the nose gun, and then get my thing blown up, jump out, start wailing away. Usually I get killed by my own debris, but sometimes I don't. Yeah,
I mean, I'll usually fly in too, personally, but there are occasions where I don't feel like flying, so I will, I'll try and use the instant action, but if I can't, yeah, I'll fly in there and lose my mosquito and then start being an infiltrator, a SMG beast that everybody hates. So, all right, anybody else? And chat too. I mean, if you guys have anything you want us to talk about, feel free to bring it up in chat. I'm trying to watch it as closely as I can, but with 1, 2, 3, 4 screens to watch, that can be difficult sometimes. So, I'm doing my best.
I just have my own short list of quality of life things, but I don't know if there's much to discuss about them.
Yeah,
I can mention them if you want.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Go ahead.
I don't know how many people play in full screen windowed, but I still can't tab behind that because there's an always on top thing going on.
That's the week. Please fix.
Broke it again. Yeah, that's
please
really
fix.
Frustrating. I mean, I have a second monitor to kind of deal with it, but that should be a really easy fix. I think even somebody like wrote a fix for it that I didn't want to use because SOE probably thought I was using a cheat or something like that. So. Yeah, I mean, that should be an easy fix. That's on there. There's also a corpse collision issue with feet, where you can get stuck on feet, and even if you shoot it at a weird angle, it will sometimes absorb bullets. I think that's really weird, and that should have gotten fixed a while ago. So that's on my list of kind of bug fixes more than quality of life. And what else is big? Oh, for me, I'm kind of a medkit fiend, if you watch my stream or whatever, so I'm always reaching for my medkits, and it's, 3 different keybinds depending on what class you're playing, so I'd really like the ability to see an ability to bind your utility item separately than rather just having it be 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, depending on if you're an engineer or an infill or light assault or whatever. So that's really frustrating. I don't know how many times I've died pulling out a repair tool or a sensor dart or something different when I'm going for that. So that's probably up there. Server transfers are up there, but that's coming soon, so hopefully we'll see that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's kind of my short list. Oh, also, Game Update 9, the closest level of zoom on your minimap, that kind of changed. So you can't zoom in as close as you used to be able to. I'd like to see that come back.
Oh yeah, I noticed that as well. I know that was brought up on the forums too, so it would be nice to see that get. I wonder if that was just an accident or intentional. I'd be curious.
Right. I think that's pretty much it for me.
Okay.
I mean, there's probably more, but those are the top of my list right now.
Yeah, so another thing we could talk about too is the roadmap was pretty shuffled up. What was it, about 2 weeks ago or something? They went in there and just shuffled up everything and they scheduled some stuff that was unscheduled, including Hassan. They finally actually put that on the roadmap for an actual month and all that stuff, and they added some things in and moved some stuff around. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what moved around or anything, but was there anything surprising to you on that list that was tweaked or moved or anything like that? Are you happy to see Hassan actually scheduled? Yes, I think we all are, even though you're not saying anything.
We need Hassan. We need that fourth continent. It's getting a little bit, I don't want to say stale, but
Yeah.
It's getting harder with the 3 continents to maintain interest. The alerts, honestly, for me, keep me going and give me a lot of enjoyment, and it gives my outfit a lot of enjoyment. We'll even send out on Twitter that, oh, there's an alert, log on right now. We'll get 10, 20, 30 people logging on just for the alert, and they'll log off afterwards. But it's keeping us alive, and we're enjoying it a lot. I'd like another continent to bring back some more people.
Yeah, I noticed that you guys do that when you tweet out the alert, so that is pretty cool.
I'm with you on that one. We actually have Test as a Steam group, and we put Steam event notifications, so anybody sitting at their computer playing other games will get a notification that the alert has started, and then they join in.
Mm-hmm.
So we do the same thing. Yeah, no, it helps with population to do that. I wish SOE needs to add alert status to the API so we can write a bot to do it.
That would be nice to see, for sure.
And then so we just tell you have 10 seconds to log in, have fun.
Yeah. Log in now, experience.
Yeah, I do agree. We need Hassan. We need to make the continents somewhat similar in the way they play as well. I know they're waiting to bring the Lattice to the other continents too, but we need to do something along that front too, because the gameplay is completely different depending on which continent. Maybe some people like that. I don't know. Maybe some people like the different gameplay on the different continents. But it would be nice to see that get fixed. It's not really fixed, but oh, I know what we can talk about. Totally forgot about this. The infantry domes that they've been putting on Esamir. Personally, I don't like that at all. I don't like it at all. I don't think it makes any sense to start adding that stuff in. I do like some of the redesigned stuff that they did on there, though, where the vehicles come in. They redesigned one of the outposts, I don't remember which one, on Esamir, where the vehicles come in and they're way down below where the infantry are fighting. And so that was kind of cool. I did like that. I'm not a fan of the actual shield over the top of outposts and bases and things like that. I just think that takes away... nobody likes getting farmed by aircraft, don't get me wrong, but on the flip side, if you're flying an aircraft... you're doing it for a reason. You'd like to help support the troops on the ground by taking out other troops on the ground or tanks on the ground or whatever. I think it's kind of a cheesy way to force infantry battles. Just let's go ahead and throw a shield over it. I don't like that. I do like some of the walls that I've seen added on that continent that you can't get over easily. No, I can't go over it. I don't even think light assault can get over them. Maybe they can. It's hard to tell. They are pretty high up, but... so what are your guys' thoughts on that? Has everybody seen that, first of all? Has anybody not seen it? Okay, I don't think anybody's not seen it. So I think everybody raised their hand. Did you raise your hand as well, Robo, or no?
I figured we'd all talk about it.
Okay,
regardless.
awesome. So I'll go ahead and we'll start. We will start with Basti this time, and then we'll move across in that direction. So go ahead, Basti.
At the beginning, when I saw it for the first time, I was quite happy because I was expecting PlanetSide 1 kind of base battles again. infantry only stuff without having to worry about tanks and vehicles and everything. But right now, I don't think it's a good idea to put that stuff in. Not at all. Because you right now already have those bases on India with lots of wars around, and what do you see usually is people just trying to find a fucking entrance or a way out of that base. And we had that on PlanetSide 1 as well, that you just didn't know where to go the first time you see a base. But in PlanetSide 1 you had like 4 or 5 different base types, and they're all the same. Once you know them all. In PlanetSide 2 every base is different. So there's like, on Ender, 20, 30 different bases you need to learn, you need to understand. It's adding even more of that stuff, no please. It's just too much to get. And
yeah. To me, it seems artificial almost. It's like, oh, let's go ahead and just do this because we can. It seems like it. I mean, I don't want to say they didn't put any thought into it, because I'm sure a fair amount of thought went into it. It's just, it doesn't seem like the solution. It seems very artificial to just start throwing in shields randomly. They haven't decided whether or not they're going to be destroyable or not. Even if they are, I still don't really like it. It's just yet another thing that you have to go and destroy in order to bring in air power to the base. And I don't really feel like I'm being farmed by aircraft very often. There's been very few times where I felt that way, at least in quite a while. I mean, at release and, you know, the month or so or whatever after release, I felt like I was getting farmed constantly. But since then, they've done a lot of balance to the aircraft and the Liberators and things like that, and where I don't really feel that way. Yeah, nerfs. Where I don't really feel that way anymore, so it just seems artificial to me. So it's Murda. You can go ahead and go next.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be the opposite of that, because not so much the dome shields, but anything that pretty much brings a good infantry fight is something I favor. I play infantry like 95% of the time, so one of the most frustrating things for me, not necessarily even air, but is defending a tower and having a lightning or a tank 500, 600 meters away on a hill shelling all of the doors that we can possibly leave, and that happens a lot. And I'm hoping that it fixes that more so than air spam even. So I guess it depends on the design of the domes and things like that, but I really hate what should be, you know, at some point, you know, they've captured the courtyard or the surrounding areas in their vehicles, stuff like that, and at some point it should change into a primarily infantry battle, in my opinion. Like if you look at PlanetSide 1 bases, it was all indoors after a while, you had to do that. But without going that far, I think at some point those guys, you know, hundreds and hundreds of meters away should, you know, have to kind of move in or get out of their vehicles or whatever, and I think that that's probably the biggest part about it that I like, that it promotes, not, you know, everybody just cramming in the spawn room because they're being camped from so far away.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that I like about it the most.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of the ground vehicle aspect of it, because, yeah, the whole spamming doors and shields and all that crap is just very tiresome. So, the walls and stuff like that, that's going to make it so it's not going to be as easy to do that. So I totally agree there. I don't think it's a bad thing on that particular front, personally, because we all know how bad spamming doorways is in this game, and in PlanetSide 1 it was the same way. And I don't know, and there is no end-all be-all solution to that. I mean, it's just, you know, there's vehicles in the game, so what are they going to do? They're going to shoot where they get kills, and they're going to get lots of kills if they shoot at doorways, so it's going to be very hard to stop something like that, aside from just not letting vehicles in the area. And so the walls will start to create some infantry fights that won't have vehicles inside of them, but I don't know that shutting out the aircraft is the best idea. I do like the idea of the walls and really blocking in some of these areas so that vehicles and tanks and stuff like that can't get in. I don't like the idea of blocking out the aircraft from being able to help support that fight, because I mean, Liberators do spam doorways, but not on the level that Prowlers and Vanguards and Mag Riders and Lightnings and Insert Vehicle here do. So anyway, so I should have clarified on that. I don't think it's a huge thing for ground vehicles. I just don't like the dome aspect for the air stuff. It just seems cheesy. All right, next up on my screen is Roy.
So I feel like they're trying to fix a weapon balance issue with level design, which seems really ham-handed. because the issue, my opinion, is that tanks probably shouldn't just fire one shot and get 5 infantry kills, and I think that's the root cause of all these problems. You shoot, you get infantry kills. And the bigger the vehicle, the more infantry kills you get. Liberator fires his gun, gets 10. Main battle tank gets 5. Lightning gets 2 or 3. Like, that's all that happens. So they're trying to fix that. They're not trying to fix the fact that tanks and stuff are just... Like... I feel like they, instead of walls and shields, they should just make tanks not able to kill infantry. Instead, make all vehicles very difficult to kill. For infantry killing vehicles, make vehicles very difficult to kill, including Sunders. Sunders should take like 10, 12 tank mines to blow up. They shouldn't be instant kill. And then have tanks be the things that kill Sunders, and then tanks not kill infantry. So the only reason you should pull tanks is to fight other tanks or fight Sunders. And then you have... Then this kind of farming interaction just goes away, and you don't need the level design for it. You don't need these walls, you don't need these shields, because these vehicles aren't interacting with infantry, they're playing alongside. Infantry is supporting each other, or supporting tanks. Tanks are supporting infantry, but they're not directly interacting with each other. You have multiple layers going on at the same time. And I think that is a very risky move to rebalance everything in the game to fit around that idea, because right now everything kills infantry. You look to the left and in a mag rider you're going to kill 12 infantry. Like, that's just simply what happens. So I don't think SOE wants to do that, because their entire economy is built around selling items and stuff. And I just got pinged saying that a lot of vehicles have anti-infantry weapons, so you'd have to like completely nerf those anti-infantry weapons against stuff, against infantry, so that they react in this way. But like, you're trying to fix the fact that you have farming vehicles. The vehicles are built to farm infantry, and so you create areas where they simply can't do their job and farm infantry. I think vehicle rules need to be changed. It's not a level design issue. It's a vehicle rule issue.
But that's not how game balance works.
I mean,
it's simply not possible. No, it's not. It can't. Not even in theory. It's worked in PlanetSide 1. PlanetSide 1's tanks did not kill infantry very well. Except for the Magma Rider, which got hella nerfed on that. That's not true.
Vanguard,
1 shot. Prowler, 2 shot. Mag Rider, 3 shot. Mag Rider was nerfed. Yes.
Yeah, Mag Rider was hellishly nerfed.
But that's the problem. How do you... If you tank can't kill infantry effectively, you take more tanks. If your infantry can't tank effectively, you take more infantry. That's what's happening right now. That's why you in some situations have tanks rolling over infantry, while other people complain that their tanks are constantly destroyed by infantry. It's just the scale that's the problem, and you can't balance for scale.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't help that all of the default weapon for tanks is a very good farming weapon for farming infantry weapon. I don't know. I think an easy to fix solution would be to switch out the default weapons from heat to AP, so that all tanks have default to AP. That'd be kind of interesting to see. But,
yeah, on the one hand, I can kind of see where you're coming from. I mean, I do agree that PlanetSide 1 tanks definitely didn't farm infantry as well, and they were harder to kill. They were definitely harder to kill than they are on PlanetSide 2. So, but on the flip side, as you said, they're making money off selling items for all this stuff, so it's going to be difficult to change them all that much.
Another thing that really bugged me was a couple weeks ago there was going to be a nerf for the Flash Fury, and then it went on sale, so they canceled the nerf for the Flash Fury because of the sale, and only because of the sale.
I didn't notice that.
That really bothered me, that they would choose to not balance the game based off sales. Like, I don't know.
Did not notice that.
Yeah, it was all over Reddit. A lot of people were thanking Higby about it, and it was just like, wait, they're choosing to balance or not balance a overpowered weapon because it went on sale.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Well, it is kind of a shitty move to nerf that weapon just after everyone voted.
Sure, they should have fixed the sale. That's the solution. Is pull it off sale, be like, we're going to nerf this, we'll put it on sale afterwards, or double the sale or something like that for the next week.
Yeah.
Something like that.
All right. Respire, you are up next, sir.
All right. Putting aside a lot of the balance issues, just talking mainly about the new dome shields, I think a lot of people keep on forgetting that things can't shoot out of them either, and you can dip your vehicle through it. So what this means is you essentially have free flat cover for your Liberator as you come in, dip slightly below the shield, and do a pass with a Zephyr. It's...
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely still possible. It's just that...
It's not taking Arrow of the equation, it's just having them change how they approach bases.
By the way, you have totally some Star Trek style lens flare on your webcam, and that's just badass. I mean, just go ahead and leave that there. That's awesome. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, you can come in kind of like under the shield, I guess. I mean, they did make a point of saying that. So I mean, it's not totally locked out. It just seems lazy, I guess is the best way to put it. Doesn't
Ham-handed.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. But on the same note, if it were destroyable, or if it were tied to something, just for example, like an NTU, that provides yet another thing for smaller outfits to manage and take care of, or to attack and take down.
True. Yeah. Cool. All right, and Robo, you are up last this time.
With the ability to duck into the shields, that creates a higher risk, higher reward situation, which Higbee talks about a lot. He wants you to have the ability to do really well if you take the risk and you manage it. But I think part of the problem here is that infantry, when they're fighting infantry in what they would conceive as an infantry zone, are getting killed by vehicles. I don't know why it's so dark in here. 1 second. It got dark. But I feel like infantry are getting a little bit of a raw deal in some cases, like in towers, because they are... I mean, the only way to take that tower is with infantry, right? And you have to have infantry to go in, and it seems like they're being punished. Like as someone said, by that 500 meter away HE shell coming at you. Like, there's no way you can protect against that, and it seems almost unfair. But at the same time, it's unfair for the tanks and vehicle players who are operating in their sphere of influence, in their area where they're supposed to be good. They feel like they're getting nerfed. So, I mean, if you see a bunch of people running across an open field, they're doing it wrong. They shouldn't be doing that. Infantry, unless they have vehicle support, that's different. But if you have a squad of infantry running across an open field, they should expect to get killed by a tank, or Liberator, or rocket potted. That's the way that terrain and that environment works. And I'm never going to be mad at a tank or a jet or a bomber for killing me in an open field, because I was in the wrong spot. But at the same time, the flip side occurs where you shouldn't be mad at infantry for killing you in an infantry area. So I had a proposed solution, which is make these domes turn on at a certain point in the base capture, where vehicles rush in on the point, and they've taken the base, but you've still got that capture time. Flick on the shields when it gets to a point, sort of as a last-ditch effort for the infantry to have a little bit of a chance. If they're better at infantry combat, then they'll win, and they'll push the infantry out, and then you're back to where you started.
I don't like that. It seems like, because momentum comes into play here, and momentum is a big deal. Like, foot zergs, okay, your foot zerg point about how you should die to tanks and stuff in an open field, if you have the momentum and you are pushing, it's actually in certain cases better to foot zerg from one base to the other, because you can keep up the momentum, because they'll pull one or two tanks, you break their tanks. Elated Biolab to Snake Ravine Lookout is a good example of this. You break all their tanks, and you start pushing with your foot zerg up. They pull tanks a few at a time. They don't immediately all pull their tanks again to start farming all your infantry. So as their tanks come in a trickle around a corner, you just blow them up and keep up your momentum.
Well, you can still do that if you've got good HA and you've got some tank support with you. That hasn't changed. But what I'm saying is a bunch of infantry, like you were saying earlier, tanks shouldn't be able to kill infantry. Tanks should
Yeah.
be focused on just killing tanks and sunderers. But if you're running across a bridge with a squad of infantry, I said bridge because I saw it on the Twitch stream.
It's exactly
If
what's
you're running-
happening right here is infantry farming.
Yeah, if you're running across the bridge without any armor support or without any air support, then those infantry should die. They have the wrong tool for the job, and they should be punished for it. You can't make it into a one-size-fits-all for anything, I think.
But that fact right there makes the turning on of the dome shields actually very difficult, because once you get the momentum and you get people locked into a spawn room, it's easy to keep them there, because there's only one way out of a spawn room, two ways out of a spawn room. So, like, even though we have these great wide open spawn rooms that you can exit at any angle, it's actually really easy to camp them. You put a tank on the upper right corner and a tank on the lower left corner, you cover both of the exits, and you just, two tanks can lock down like 20 people in their spawn room. So
Right, that's yeah, exactly. So
if
I
you
think
have the shield turn on afterwards, like after they get the domination and get you locked into your spawn room, they're just going to keep you in the spawn room. And that's
But in that situation, yeah, I don't know if I intimated that well enough. I'd like at that point for the shields to turn on. I don't know how they would do that, but then the tanks wouldn't be able to fire into that area. Then you would have to suppress the infantry coming out of the spawn room with just infantry. And at that point, you can have a lot of you can have a max crash. You can have a light assault crash out one door and drop to the bottom and go through. You can go through that teleporter in the garage. It opens up more options because you don't have to be afraid of having 10 HE shells fired at you. And honestly, it creates a lot of grief as well from friendlies saying, "Oh, I want the kill," and they're taking out 2 or 3 of their own guys to get the one kill. We don't want that either.
As I said, I think it's a weapon balance issue. I think farming infantry is not a good mechanic. It's no fun for either side. Well, it might be fun for the vehicles, but no fun for the infantry.
Infantry farming vehicles. That's what's happening.
Yeah, no, that's happening now because like AV weapons are power creep like mad. Like the Lancer, Striker, and Phoenix, those are simply better than their default counterparts. Like all 3 of them. There is one situation for the Lancer that I think you can make an argument. Like if you just dropped on top of a bunch of tanks, maybe the S1 is better. Which I think that also I think that applies to all 3. Now that I think about it, but you are rarely in that situation, and that creeps up on you surprisingly. But in every other situation, you're behind cover. You see a tank coming at you. You just pull out your Striker, Lancer, or Phoenix and kill it. So I think the SOE tried to fix that with the 20% vehicle buff to health, but it's not enough.
Cool. All right. And boom, that's it. Apparently. Anybody else have any more comments?
Well, I mean, everybody's raised good points. I think.
Absolutely.
We get on it. It's not our job to fix the game.
Yeah. There's definitely some good points been raised.
Let's get the people that can fix this on it to fix it. Go for it.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we scheduled this on a day where Higby is not watching, so hopefully he'll watch the YouTube video after the fact. But I know there are some devs watching. I know that.
Clegg, you have a mission. Tell Higby.
Pretty sure Clegg is still in here. Is he still Yes, he's still there. I'm stalking him.
Do you really want to count on Clegg?
Well, yeah. Bad things could happen.
Hey, I'll count on Clegg.
I'm going to be spending 3 or 4 days this week with Clegg. It's going to be very frightening for me and him because we're both probably going to Clegg things up at this whole thing that's going on. So, shenanigans abound, I'm sure, with this. With E3 coming up. Is it so? You're going to SOE Live, right, Robo?
Yes, I will be at SOE Live.
Awesome. Anybody else in here going to SOE Live, or is it just you?
I'd really like to. It's not finalized yet.
Yeah.
But, I'd really like to. It's 2,800 miles away, so that's the big issue for me. But I'd really, really, really like to make it happen. Hopefully that promo that we're not going to talk about helps out.
Cool.
Silence.
Yeah, so there's a few different things going on actually. There's that, or there's the what the hell is it called? The key, like the discount key that gets people free stuff. There's that going on, the community key. What the hell are they calling it? Does it have a name? I guess maybe it doesn't have a name.
Recruiter program or something
Yeah.
like that. SOE Live Recruiter.
Yeah, so if you sign up, what is it, 30 people, you get a free plane ride or something?
25.
25?
Yeah, 15 gets free hotel stay, and 5 gets you a free ticket for yourself.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a cool program, but, I mean, I mentioned this in your thread, too.
Yeah.
It pits the community against each other to get people to register for SOE Live, and that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Because you can't use the
no doubt
key.
about it.
You can't use the key more than once. So if you've used somebody's key, then you can't use somebody else's because
And if you've already registered.
And if you've already registered, yeah, it's not retroactive. It's a new registration thing. And, you know, not that I'm downing SOE Live or anything. It's a really cool event. And looking forward to meeting anybody new that's going to be coming out there. Looking forward to finally meeting you in person, Robo. We've seen each other on this video cam like a million times. It's a really cool event. It's an awesome event, for that matter. It's totally community. I mean, everything that's going on is community related. There's many PlanetSide drinking festivities as well, so
Yes.
be prepared for lots of consuming of alcohol, for sure. But the thing is, like, it's a great event, but on the flip side, I don't see anybody being able to actually get 25 people to sign up for it. Like, it's a pretty hefty, like, thing to do to decide to go to SOE Live. Unless you live in Vegas, or if you live in California, or, you know, somewhere, you know, in the vicinity of Vegas, it's going to be hard to get people to just be like, oh, you know, all right, well, I'll just drop $5,000 or $3,000 or whatever, and, you know, buy plane tickets and pay for SOE Live and, you know, all the stuff that comes along with it. It's going to be kind of difficult to get people to sign up. To actually, if somebody actually gets to 25 people, more power to them. That'd be totally badass. I have my doubts, however, so I'm not trying to down the event or anything. It's just, it's hard to get people to register for that sort of stuff. I actually have a key. I just haven't put it out there because, I mean, I'm going to be there anyway, so it's like I don't really want to. I know I could give it to somebody else, but then I'm taking away from other people from having the ability to do that. So anyway, that's my soapbox on that whole promotion. We do have some stuff coming up for PSU as well, so that excuse me, that stuff will be retroactive. So whenever we do whatever it is we're going to do, I'm still waiting on finalizing it all, but whenever we get that all put together, you guys will be able to register through PSU to take part in some special stuff that we're going to do that I don't know what it is yet. I know some of it, but it's just not ready for prime time consumption yet. So SOE is rather busy with E3, so the whole promotion for PSU is kind of on the back burner at the moment. But we don't have that much time. It's in August, so hopefully we'll be able to get that rolling next week or something. Anyway, so be on the lookout for that. We'll have some cool stuff going on there. And, you know, I don't know exactly what it is yet, but it'll be cool. I guarantee you it'll be cool. All right, so does anybody else have any random topics that they want to bring up? Anybody in chat, even? If not necessarily anybody in here? Anybody?
Someone said implants.
Implants?
I saw implants a lot in the chat.
Okay.
It's currently a Reddit one right now. I believe the topic is...
So let's go ahead. We'll talk about implants, and that will be our final topic for the day. We're coming up on 2 hours, and we get quite a few viewers. I'm impressed, but you know, there comes a time when you've talked too much about something. So I think 2 hours is a great time limit for Squad Beacon shows. So anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about implants. Do we want to just go down the row? Is that cool with everybody?
Sure.
Does everybody have something to say on the matter? All right, so I'm going to start from the other side this time. So, Robo, you're going to be first this time. So, be prepared. Here I come. So, what are your thoughts on implants?
That topic actually took me a bit by surprise. So I don't have I've got a notepad with a bunch of things I've written out for GU10, GU9, PlayStation 4 implants. As long as they're not power boosts, if they're more like utility items, or and I mean, as long as they're available for everyone and they're not monetized terribly, I think they'll be a great addition to the game, sort of giving you that extra boost. And I don't even know. Does anyone know what type of things they had talked about for implants? They had talked about like not showing up on the radar, like Silent Run, or
Audio amp, yeah.
Audio amp, yeah.
PS1 as well.
So yeah, they've got a lot of different things they could do with it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they've got. I'm looking forward to playing on the test server to see what they've got.
Yeah, some of them were on in beta originally, and then they disappeared. So I would imagine some of the stuff that we saw in beta will probably start making its way out. Of course, I can't remember any
Things
of
like
those
the
off
passive
top of my
timers.
head.
The beta models were kind of like COD perks. They were like fast weapon draw, fast reload, things like that.
Yeah.
So
More than anything.
apparently, from the MMORPG interview, the implants will be you buy for station cash or certs. There will be significantly less expensive than weapons, and will have a timer.
I
So
hate the timer part personally.
yeah, the timer part bugs me.
Well, that's how they keep making the money off of it. Is you want to
Yeah.
buy one or a pack of them? Yeah.
Somebody just broke something. Nobody else
May have
heard
been
that.
me.
Okay, all right. Sorry, continue. I guess there wasn't anything to continue on. Just complete silence.
No, like I don't know. Like the timer bugs me, but I could understand why. As long as they're incredibly cheap, like 30 certs, 50 certs, for an implant, and then like have the hour be, or like have the timer be like an hour. That way you're not wasting time if you're not really playing that long. So like you don't get them for very long, but they also don't cost anything. So
Right.
But on the same note, I mean, I really don't like the idea that you're letting people buy power if it's anything like how it was in beta. So on with reload implant is going to have a direct edge on someone who doesn't have it running. And I could get into a big rant about it, and I'm sure Reddit has already done more than enough.
it's actually a small thread. I'm surprised.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against implants per se. I don't like the timer thing. I mean, I kind of like the way they went with some of the ones in beta, where you get a slightly decreased, acquire timer for vehicles and things along those lines. I don't know. I'm kind of neutral on them. I feel like they could completely throw the game off balance if they don't do them right. That's for sure. But I mean, I'm very much neutral on the subject of implants for sure.
I think they should probably do something like you unlock them through battle rank, which gives battle rank more. Like after battle rank 15, battle rank is useless. It's just you hit a number next to your name, woohoo. But if you tie them to battle rank, and then you have cert trees for them that are locked to battle rank as well, so that you get a little bit stronger over time. So that way you allow a little bit of power creep, but not a lot, just a little bit. And then so like a BR, like you get like silent running at BR 10, and that's the implant you get, and you only get the first ranks in the cert tree at that level, and then BR 25 you get another rank in the cert tree that you can then progress down, and then so on and so forth. I think that would be mechanically sound to set up. I don't like the timer mechanic, and I don't like the fact that you could buy them for station cash.
No, I agree with you there, and I like the concept of having it be more of a skill tree system where battle rank starts to mean something and you start to actually either gain access to specific trees in the implant system or just more points to put into your chosen tree. I feel like that has a lot more future for the game as opposed to just another way to make quick cash, which is what the current proposed implant system feels like.
Yeah. All right, let's continue moving down the line there. I don't think you said anything yet there. It's Murdo. We'll go ahead and go with you next.
Yeah, I mean, I just briefly spoke about it when you guys were talking about the timer earlier. I think they're probably going to go along the lines of the audio amp silent run type of stuff. At least that's what they previewed in the roadmap post. Maybe shifting away from the quick reload and quick draw that they had in the beta. I like the skill tree type of thing that Roy and Respire were talking about. I don't know that they're going to devote that much time into like a completely new RPG element just for implants. So assuming that they're going to go with they're in the depot either for station cash and or certs, the timer is definitely the thing that I would like to see thought out very well. And personally, for all timers, both implants, if they're going to go that route, and boosts, I'd like to see them be time played, even if they are shortened quite a lot. Like if the 7-day boosts were only 1 day for the same 500 station cash, but it was actually 24 hours played, or whatever you think makes sense. Especially with implants, something that you'll want to be buying on a regular basis every time you're playing, most likely. Having to buy it and then having something come up and you just completely lose out on it because you have to get get out of your seat or whatever. I think that's a huge hassle, especially if you're spending real dollars station cash on it. I'd love to see them move to time played. I don't know if they will, because obviously they make more money if you do have to get out of your seat and then buy it again when you get back. But I think quality of life, or whatever you want to call it, that would be. I would feel much more comfortable buying anything that was time sensitive if I knew I could come back tomorrow or whatever and still have that time on it.
All right. And Basti. Look at him, he's like asleep. It's not that late there. I do it earlier now, is it? What time is it there?
12 before midnight.
Okay, well.
That's not late.
But implants, yeah, no idea.
Nice.
I have absolutely no clue about implants. I have no idea what they're going to put in. I have no idea how they work. I haven't followed the topic at all. I just wait and see.
Nice. All right. Well, I guess that about wraps things up. I don't know if anybody's watching Higby's tweets past few minutes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you see that last one where it's the PlayStation and Xbox banners like 10 feet from each other, facing each other? It's going to be an interesting E3 on the console front, if you care about consoles, which...
Round one, ready, fight.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be interesting. It definitely will be. It will be cool. So, all right. Well, nope. Go ahead before I start wrapping up. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Aspire.
just one last thing on the topic of implants. Especially with sort of the whole skill tree thing that Roy was talking about, and I mentioned, another interesting suggestion I saw, I think, on Reddit was, and that I really agreed with, was having downsides to each one. So you may be increasing your ability to repair, or whatever it may be. Say repair a max unit, you repair them faster, or your cooldown isn't as drawn out when repairing a max, but on the same note, you repair vehicles slower, or something along the lines of that. Really making people specialize and choose when they pick their implants. I think that is a lot of promise.
Yeah, as long as they don't cost station cash or timed.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's a lot of ideas that you could play around with on the implant system that simply cannot be played with if you have them timed and cost station cash, because you don't want to sell power. That is a big no-no, which arguably some weapons are selling power, but not going to open that can of worms yet. But
we don't have any more time.
I know, right? We're out of worms. So I don't know. I think that they're really limiting themselves. If they're really considering going down the station cache and timed route, they're really limiting themselves on what they can do. And these can be a really cool mechanic, and I'm really excited to see what they can do with these. And I think that is just dangerous to do it with money.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Any closing thoughts on implants again? Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap things up. I think we had some pretty badass conversations today. I think it was a good show. So I thank you everybody for coming on. Definitely good conversations about lots of different topics, from consoles all the way to alerts and implants. So I enjoyed it. So thank you guys for coming on. I'll let you guys all have your individual closing thoughts as well before I mute you away and disconnect you. Just kidding. So we'll go ahead and we will start with Robo and let you say any closing thoughts you have, and then we'll move down the line.
Well, thanks for having me on. And I want to throw a quick shout out to our newer and also not Vanu guests. It's nice to have some Empire diversity. Yeah, because usually it's just me, Basti, and Roy talking about stuff, and Hama interjecting with the TR thought.
Ooh.
Yeah, go VS. So it's definitely nice to have another perspective from other servers, other empires. Anyone else that's listening that is interested in this, we need to figure out a way to vet you, and we'll get you on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this one, I was actually very satisfied with the amount of folks that we had interested, considering I said, on Thursday, or was it Friday? I guess it was Friday. I said, let's go ahead and do this, and got like 5 or 6 people interested. So that's a good thing. I was happy to see that, and some of them were new. So I think we'll have some new guests for the future as well, and I'm happy more folks are starting to kind of get involved and getting their thoughts out there too. So definitely thanks to the new guys for coming on and mixing up the empires as well as mixing up the panel that we have going on too. So all right, Respire, what are your closing thoughts on the show?
No, I was really glad to be here and be given the chance to participate. I've had a lot of opportunities to listen to good conversation between a lot of other participants, as well as contribute my own 2 cents. And yeah, I'm looking forward to either listening to or participating in the next one.
Cool. All right. And next up we have Roy.
Shout out to the players on Matherson. You guys make that game fun. Matherson meta, best meta. Shout out to the test outfit members in chat. I've seen a whole bunch of you guys on cards. Dirty Paws. How's it going, guys? I'll be playing Minecraft with you later. And then for those of you who are interested in the count, my cat has clawed 4 holes into my legs that are bleeding. So he definitely got revenge on me. So thanks for having me on the show again. And let's do more of these. These are fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So 4-0 for your cat, basically.
Yes. Well, 4-1 because I held him up to the camera.
Oh,
so
that's true. 4-1, I guess.
got my. He just got his revenge.
Yeah, exactly. Throughout the show, he just slowly got his revenge. So, all right, cool. Well, thanks for coming on again. And it's Murda. Go ahead and your comments.
All right. Well, I'm glad that I was able to pinch in a webcam yesterday for this, to be a part of this finally. I've wanted to a few different times, but I kind of had an awful excuse among other things. So thank you very much for having me, and hopefully I will be joining you again here in the future. I want to kind of just say the PlanetSide streaming community right now is still pretty small. Higby was in my stream the other day saying, I don't know why more people don't watch PlanetSide. So pass that word along. I'd like to see more people watching. There's, not just myself, but there's a lot of good streamers out there who don't really get a lot of views right now. So check out the PlanetSide directory on Twitch. If I can give a shout out somewhere, I would definitely recommend you guys doing that. And also, I think, in about an hour, the MLG War Report is on,
yes.
So I'll remind you guys to check that out, too. And, yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys around here in the future. Thanks again for having me.
Not a problem. Thanks for coming on. I don't know who's on MLG. I don't know who's on MLG tonight, which outfit, but yeah, that's definitely coming up in about an hour or so. So yeah, tune into that if you haven't seen it before. It can be interesting to watch, and I do agree with you. There's not a whole lot of not a whole lot of viewership on the PlanetSide streams. I'll watch them a lot of times, but I won't actually join any chat. I'll just throw them up on my TV or whatever when I'm doing something else downstairs. But I don't actually say anything in there. I just kind of lurk. I'm a stream lurker. I was watching your stream yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
I saw you around the other day. Yeah. Higby's been hanging out a lot. I mean, Clegg's been in there, Leper's been in there, but Higby's been hanging out a lot. Not only just in my stream, but with everybody, supporting them a lot, retweeting them, tweeting them themselves, giving us station cash, stuff like that. So they're really good about that. So hopefully we get more viewers coming in.
Absolutely. Just be careful with Clegg in there. You may clegg up the stream in some way.
Yeah, he's got moderator on my stream now.
Uh-oh.
So I'm a little bit worried.
Why'd you do that?
Man, he hasn't kicked anybody out of our channel yet, so I think he'll be good. We'll see what happens.
Actually, just before the stream, I saw him go into the Reachcast stream, immediately crashed the moment Clegg joined
really?
the chat.
Oh, nice. Epic fail. Classic. All right, and Basti. Closing thoughts. You get to finish out the panel just like you started it.
Woo! As a member of the glorious PC gaming master race, I welcome our new PS4 peasants. Other than that, good show. Whenever again, please.
All right. Yeah, I mean, we do want to do these, more often than we actually do them. It's just things have been pretty busy, so we went back and visited family for a while there. We were gone for about a week, and then Jen goes back and visits family, and then I'm going to E3, and then at the end of the month we're going to MLG. So it's a pretty busy month. Next month we'll kind of clear up a little bit, so we'll definitely for sure have one in. Well, we'll see. We may have another one this month. If we don't, we're most certainly going to have one in 1 or 2 in July, leading up to SOE Live. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about. Interested to see what we learn out at E3 this week. Maybe they have some secrets for us. Who knows? You never know. All right, so unless anybody has any final closing thoughts, we're going to go ahead and I'll mute you guys out. You can talk amongst each other, and I'll drop in as well after I finish the show. And all right, cool. All right, those guys are all muted out now. You guys can feel free to mute me on the channel too if you want to actually talk amongst each other, because I know you'll be hearing me still even though you can't talk. All right, so thanks everybody for tuning in here to the Araxis Global Network. Had a great broadcast today. A lot of different topics we talked about. We will be. I'm going to try and get this on YouTube. I can't make any promises. I'm pretty stretched for time between now and tomorrow when my plane leaves. So I will do my best to get it posted up there. If I don't, my apologies. But I will definitely get it at some point if it's not today. Just count on the. Hopefully the Twitch export actually works the way that it's supposed to. If the Twitch export works, then we'll have it up tonight. So in the meantime, thank you everybody for tuning in. And as I turn away from my screen awkwardly. Okay, sorry about that. I was just setting something up there in the background. So be sure to tune in to our future episodes of AGN and tune in to the MLG War Report that's coming up tonight. And I will be out at E3 with the SOE team, kind of helping to answer questions about PlanetSide 2. And so be sure to check us out if you're there. I know it's difficult to get into E3, so nobody watching is probably actually going to be there. But if you are going to be there, be sure to stop by, pay us a visit, say hello. Clegg will be out there, Perfect Storm, Luperza, same thing. T-Ray, Higby, the whole crew is going to be out there. So if you can, try and stop by. We'll be in LA for the next few days. So in the meantime, we will catch you next time. Oh, and hi, Mom. I think my mom's watching again, so hi, Mom. Jen usually says hello, but she's not here to say hello, so I'll do it myself. All right. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Araxis Global Network here on PlanetSide-Universe.com, Twitch TV. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next time.